Hello, everyone. This video is going to contain a summary of our staff reports for the 2025 season. So I'll kick it off with the director's report. First of all, regionals 2025. We offered 25 regional events plus 2 virtual events. Regional participation increased by 2% overall from 2024. By class, the Concert A increased 10%, Concert Open increased 10%. Concert World remained unchanged from 2024. Scholastic A decreased by 11%. Scholastic Open increased by 23%. So this is telling us that the groups are developing into the intermediate paradigm. And Scholastic World increased by 18%. And Independent A decreased by 7%. Independent Open decreased by 13%, and Independent World increased by 3%. By state, the top 5 regional entries were California, Texas, Indiana, Florida, and Pennsylvania. There were challenges this year with some regional sites, with Texas and California being the 2 most challenging, and we're going to continue to work to get the best sites available in the future. So let's switch over to the World Championship. So overall, the World Championship participation increased by 8% over 2024. PSCA increased by 14%, PSCO decreased by 10%, and PSCW increased by 17%. Scholastic A decreased by 18%, Scholastic Open increased by 21%, and Scholastic World increased by 11%. Independent A decreased by 14%, Independent Open decreased by 13%, and Independent World increased by 3%. So by state, representing at the World Championships, top 5 were California, Indiana, Ohio, Texas, and Pennsylvania. This was the first year that we could not facilitate the demand for entries into World Championship in Dayton. We had to actually close the entries with 12 confirmed groups on the wait list and another 8 that we know of who planned on making the trip. We've been monitoring the schedule for several years, but have always found ways to get groups off the wait list. This year, due to the class makeup, we just couldn't make it work. So for next year, we already have plans in motion to use 5 sites. 5 sites means we need more site personnel, more volunteers. There's going to be a little bit more Dayton travel for the groups that are there, which is always a concern due to time and cost that goes into travel. But we feel that this added venue will relieve some stress due to the growth and scheduling concerns. We're working to make the days a little shorter and have some built-in time for any delays due to potential weather issues. And I'll have more on this once we get the details worked out. We also had 46 applications this year for combined schools, and that is up from 36 in 2024. So that's a 22% increase. We're starting to feel that this policy is being taken advantage of a little bit, and this is something that the board of directors is going to need to revisit this summer. So some final notes. We had some challenges getting started with the updated safety rules, so we're looking at having a smoother process in 2026. We also had several trainees for site management and tabulation this past season, and we're going to continue to look for more quality people to add to our teams. We're also planning to further expand our regional footprint in 2026. Also, a note that our judges have generously funded approximately $10,000 in scholarships over the past 3 years. Our site teams and volunteers do an incredible job of making the World Championship Week work for all the participants, but we need more help. I would love to see some of the alumni from the activity come back to volunteer to make this event continue to move forward. So your help would very much be appreciated. And to the performers, teachers, designers, and support personnel involved in this great activity, bravo. What an incredible season we had. I'll be available for any questions at our meeting in Las Vegas next week. So at this time, I would like to pass the mic over to Caleb Rothe for our education report.
Thank you so much, Mark. Man, 2025 has been an absolutely incredible season filled with a lot of very memorable performances, and I'm excited to share a couple of education report items with all of you today. The first thing I want to start with are some of our regional events. One of the things that I like the most that we do at those is provide overview commentary at some select regionals each year. Happy to share that we were able to do that at 5 out of the 25 regionals this season, which again ties a new high watermark for us. Those regionals were Chattanooga, Houston, Phoenix, Richmond, and Union City, with a couple of those getting this feature for the first time. As you all know, we like to rotate that around different regionals so that everybody gets that kind of service at some point over the course of a couple of years. That project, of course, would not be possible without some amazing designers and instructors dedicating a weekend of time and also their knowledge and their wisdom to share it back with all of our participating groups. So I want to make sure that that I thank and acknowledge Shane Gwaltney, Travis Peterman, Ian Hale, Josh Nelson, and Richard Kearns for their help with this project this year. They all did a tremendous job at the regionals, and we always get such great feedback from groups that get this extra bonus feature with some overview commentary from a colleague in the activity. In terms of additional education efforts this year, primarily three things that we were kind of focused in on. The first was we launched a new concert percussion effect sheet this year, and so did some work around educational materials and efforts for that, both for our adjudication team as well as for instructors and designers, with a video series that kind of breaks down the ins and outs of that new sheet. You may have also noticed some emails and some videos that went into detail explaining some of the new performer safety rules and then updating with some clarifications throughout the course of the season. So heavily involved in making sure that that went as smooth as it could be and getting the word out about those changes and modifications. And lastly, one of the things that we did this year was release a 4-part video series collaboration with James Catherall. James and I worked together on this, and it was all about power, electronics, and calamities with practical solutions and resources for people to manage power load and to think about what you're going to do when disaster strikes, and also consider things like backup batteries and UPCs and electronic generators and things of that nature as well that makes the whole process go really smoothly. So all of those videos are still available on our YouTube channel. I encourage you to definitely check that out. They will remain there as resources for you for many years to come. I know many that are watching this video, you're already familiar with those materials, but if you also have a role back in your home local circuits to help spread the knowledge and the good word about the resources that are out there, these are all things that you can share with your colleagues back at home as well. The other thing I wanted to do was update everybody on classification in 2025. I feel like this process just keeps getting better and better and more refined every year. And that's due to the tremendous work of obviously our steering committee that carves out some time to make sure that we're keeping the lines super clear and making sure that groups are paired up with the right sets of expectations and feedback in our education tiered system, but also the tremendous work that's happening at the local level. We'll talk about that in a second. So really quickly, some stats for you. In 2025, there were 16 groups that were attending WGI World Championships that were reclassified. And that's out of, like a couple of hundred groups that participated at World Championships. So by and large, those that are going to World Championships do a tremendous job of self-selecting the right class. And when there are some that are in the wrong spot, we're able to move them. That was 16 groups this year. Of those 16, 12 of those moved from A to open. You'll certainly see that reflected in some of the stats Mark gave you of which classes grew this year or maybe shrunk a little bit. We also had out of the 16, 4 were reclassified from open class to world class this year, reaching the highest level of the activity, which is always such a huge honor for groups that are achieving that for the first time. I'm also happy to share that of those 16 groups that reclassified at WGI World Championships, 100% of them earned a box 4 or box 5 score in their new class at WGI World Championships, which is just a tremendous feat. So kudos to all of those groups for taking on the challenge and making sure that they did everything that they could to put themselves in a great position for success. Also, out of those 16, 2 of them were even finalists in their new class in their very first year. I think a lot of this great work is due to all the awesome local reclassification efforts that are happening at the local level. We received more Local circuits reaching out to us this year than ever before, just letting us know, hey, our local team has reclassified these 3 groups. They're going to a regional in a couple weeks. Can we get their class changed at the regional? We really appreciate when you do that. So if you ever have a local reclassification that happens, and you notice that that group is scheduled to go to a WGI event, either WGI World Championships or a regional, if you reach out to us and let us know, that's always really helpful so that we can get them in the right class as quickly as possible. And in general, I think the whole steering committee and certainly us as an admin team felt really good about the accuracy of classification at World Championships this year. And it feels like things are getting better and better at the local level as well at the circuit level with accuracy of classification. So it takes a village to make that happen. And I want to thank everybody that contributes to that. Last thing I want to mention is that WGICon 2024, which happened since the last time that we talked, and I was able to share a report with you, was a huge success. We all got together in San Francisco, and it was a really awesome outlet for learning and professional development. I'm hoping events like that can continue well into the future, and I hope that all of you in this activity continue to invest in yourselves and your growth and your development as educators and designers. Outlets like this are so important, and I'm a big believer that all of us kind of having that growth mindset and constantly being open to learning and developing and branching out is what helps keep our activity healthy and thriving. So thanks to everybody that participated in that, and if we're able to do these again in the future, I hope everybody will consider participating as well. Lastly, I just want to let everybody know that I remain an educational resource for all of you. So if at any point you've got a question about the activity or the way that things work, or you just want to talk shop, or you just want to connect on any topic out there, you can always reach out to me, shoot me an email. My email address is Caleb, C-A-L-E-B, @WGI.org. And I'd certainly love to hear from anybody that's got questions about the activity, because I love this stuff just as much as all of you do. All right, without further ado, I want to turn things over to Chris for the adjudication report.
Thank you, Caleb. Let's talk some adjudication. I continue to be thankful for the opportunity to work for you and serve in this role. I've been doing this for 15 years now. Absolutely love every aspect of it. And as always, our goal continues to be earning your trust. So hitting on a couple points tonight, we'll talk a little bit of overview, some current roster makeup, the judge training and continuing ed that we go through, the regional assignments and world championship assignments, judge surveys, and our goals for 2026. First and foremost, the judges and the judging system are in place to serve you. We treat it somewhat as Top Gun. We want to have the best people in the world on the roster and do everything we can to make them better. Ultimately, the goal is to earn and specifically sustain your trust. We do continue to operate in the classic teacher, counselor, critic role structure across the paradigms A, Open, and World, where the judge's responsibility within A is to become a teacher, within Open, it's as a counselor, and within World, it's a critic. And specifically within the advisory board, it's a fairly world-heavy board just based upon the makeup, where the relationship is more of a critic, but do understand that we operate from definition number 2 of a critic, which is a person who judges the merits of literary, artistic, or musical works, especially one who does so professionally. It's not just a person who expresses unfavorable opinions, which is definition number 1. So we're always here to support, always here to move the ball forward and such. Please do also understand there is a lot of heavy lifting with hundreds of A's and open class groups that most of you never see or hear. Our judges must be able to wear all 3 hats, A, Open, World, teacher, counselor, critic, and pivot throughout every day they're judging in terms of class expectations and tone. We continue to stress accountability. Judges are accountable to the system, to the philosophy, and to the groups they adjudicate and score. We encourage them to be your biggest fan while you're on the floor, like a paid consultant, but they're also accountable to the system. So with regards to the roster makeup, we continue to operate with a lean roster, maximizing exposure, with the number of regionals kind of being a limiting factor. The roster is basically built on the needs for Thursdays of World Championship, which is generally 6 full double panels, which is 8 judges per panel, and then a 7th double panel for concerts. So it's 52 judges, 12 in each caption, plus 4 in music and effect within the concert class. And then various timing and penalties judges from around the country that we pull in. So we kind of build it from that Thursday and work backwards. We work to carry about 13 to 15 per caption to allow for coverage and availability, because not every judge is available on a given weekend, or for World Championships for that matter. This year, we had several judges unavailable for World Championships, which provided opportunities for some on the roster to gain some valuable experience. So right now we're looking at 55 judges currently on the roster, plus 21 timing and penalty judges, again, from around the country. The challenge when assembling an ideal roster is that our judges must be able to judge all of the classes effectively. Some judges are fantastic at judging A and can sometimes struggle with open and world. Some judges are fantastic at judging world, can sometimes struggle with A and open, and many are great at judging all three. But it is a challenge. So we don't have the luxury of carrying class specialist judges, especially when it comes to the regionals. They need to be able to judge all three throughout the day. Their strengths and weaknesses are kind of mitigated through assignments, exposure, and double paneling. We need our judges to be world championship ready, able to adjudicate any paradigm as they do throughout the season. So it is a process from a training standpoint. From those that we have on the roster, it is a progression right up to world championships to meet you on that level. Care is taken in the mix of assignments throughout the season and in world championships, down to the specifics of 2-panel contests, double paneling, who's critiquing with which classes, and balancing those opportunities and experiences and exposure over the course of the season. Ideally, consistent class paradigm proficiency is the goal across the roster, and much time and care is taken in that training exposure over time. And we do continue working to best match our current judges with their natural strengths, whether it's effect music, effect visual, music, or visual. And we have some judges that can toggle between classes, but we try to get them in where their strengths are going to be. As far as prospective judges, we're always looking to evolve. We always need to evolve. We work with an active depth chart in each caption at the circuit level. Of course, different judges in the circuits or just around the country or coming from other activities are on different tracks or different trajectories, often affecting their rate of preparedness for the WGI roster. But from an evolution standpoint, we're always open to those new candidates. The roster makeup will continue to be fluid. Again, as we always say, it's not a Supreme Court seat. Reviews will continue through the summer. Decisions made before availabilities go out in mid-August through media review, through craft management, numbers management review, judge surveys, general awareness of the judge efficacy, and some self-evaluation. Please do understand that there's 55 very vastly different people with different experiences and different experience. So we don't want lockstep, formulaic, check-the-box, compulsory reactions from all the judges the same way the audience doesn't want that same formulaic lockstep design shows. There's going to be variety. There's going to be a depth of experience and such. But of course, we need to share a collective approach and understanding of the philosophy and craft. So down to the training and the continuing ed that we go through. We always kick the seasons off with the first week of January being our January WGI judge meeting. This year was again virtual. Friday night, we hold basically a State of the Union where Mark brings everybody up to speed on what came out of the board of directors, the meeting from the advisory board in May through the board of directors in the summer, and where the activity stands. And then we break out effect on Mondays, music on Tuesdays, visual on Wednesdays the following week with a 2 to 3 hour in-depth kind of breakdown. Within effect, we went straight at overall effect. We discussed experiences evaluating overall effect. We did breakout groups generating 4 questions they could be asking themselves while evaluating the overall effectiveness of a production or performance that would reinforce the considerations already on our sheets. Feeling free to borrow from experiences and other art forms, watching a movie, seeing a musical, just trying to hit that overall effect from a bunch of different angles that's still very applicable and appropriate to our paradigm. Examples like, is the performance compelling? Is it convincing? Is there cultural or historical context? Is it accessible? Is it interesting? Is it memorable? That type of word bank, that type of thought-provoking bank that just kind of stimulates the judges to be more and more ready to take in holistic perspectives. We then did an exercise applying these questions and our WGI considerations to episodes of Bluey. For those that are familiar, chosen especially because of the similarity and length of the episodes. They're all about 7:15-ish. From a pacing standpoint, the depth and breadth covered in the episodes and the appropriateness, gauging an episode's overall effectiveness as a parallel art form. And then we switched Tuesday and Wednesday to the analytical captions. The theme was kind of come on inside. So for music, we said, come on inside. What makes evaluating our activity different than others in our venues and our level of intimacy? Prompts largely generated from the breakouts that we had that Caleb referenced, WGI in San Francisco in September. The prompts with new music was when navigating venue considerations and the challenges of changing environments. What are we saying to groups in terms of scoring, tuning, dynamic range, timbre palette? I can see it, but I can't really hear it. As productions become more layered and complicated, what are the strategies for recognizing demands, responsibilities, and finding the potentially deciding factors and weighing them in the comparison phase? How do we weigh the variety of approaches and styles, especially finding the potential deciding factors and how to weight them in the comparison phase? Consider both marching and concert classes. From an evolutionary standpoint and a lifelong learner standpoint, what resources can we be exploring to broaden our awareness of the evolving vocabulary, techniques, athleticism? Also talked about kind of managing some trends within the activity, the evolution of cymbal solos. Are we steering this? Are we expecting this? Are there compulsories? Those types of things. Likewise within visual, again, with the theme being kind of come on inside, letting it be within our world, our vantage, the intimacy of our shrunken theaters. What makes evaluating our activity different than others in our venues and our level of intimacy? What with the WGI visual sheets enable you to evaluate a judge vis-a-vis other visual sheets? Because a lot of judges come from the outside, come from the fall, come from the summer. Just that perspective shift. The perception that WGI percussion visual judges sometimes don't adjust their craft enough for indoor vis-a-vis stadium reads and where the seating is. I know that's something that'll be discussed at the board meeting. That zooming in, zooming out, that level of intimacy that the visual caption has. Balancing that zooming in, zooming out throughout the performance. Also within the visual caption, what resources can they be exploring to broaden an awareness of their evolving vocabulary, their techniques, their athleticism? For the visual session, we also really started digging in on several world-class productions from recent years with shared video screen analysis, shared discussions, breaking down performances into phrases, discussing, watching more, discussing more, and then rewinding, taking things into context. It really sparked a lot of roundtable discussion just on being able to see the live performance there, and we're all watching the same thing at the same time and react. We continued again this year on our weekly calls. We do effect music and effect visual together on Monday nights, and then music for an hour on Tuesday nights, and then visual for the next hour on Tuesday nights. That's kind of the backbone of the training that we do, the continuing ed that we do. Topics range from judge craft to really caption specific prompts. And as we started with the visual at the January meetings, this year we did a lot of shared screen assessing and discussions, kind of carefully isolating phrases, but always wrapping up with putting things in context with larger chunks of the show, sometimes even the entire performance, again, to give context and be able to reflect on. Specifically for music, we did several shared screen sessions where we focused on isolating segments and phrases where we had notation provided just within the clip, just to help broaden the awareness and ideally better recognition of what language is being performed so they could hear it again, see it, hear it again, see it. It really helped to reinforce and turned out to be very enlightening on the language and vocabulary that's being employed from a music standpoint. We also navigated later season calls to where the landscape was with larger regionals, more dense blocks, all again in preparation of World Championships. So everything we do in training, preparation, and throughout the season is setting up the judges to be unconsciously competent, just ready to react when the red light is on in that split seconds of decision making when we get to World Championships. For regional assignments, we have every assignment going back 15 years now, so we try not to assign the same judge to the same regional 2 years in a row. The effort is to expose all judges to different regions around the country, their personal scheduling notwithstanding. It can be a challenge sometimes with availabilities, but we still work through it. Judges are generally assigned 2 to 3 regionals. We will continue to flip the 2-panel regionals when possible to provide the additional reads, but understand kind of the conundrum of critiquing with a judge that you then don't see later that night. Also needing to balance the workload, because when we do flip, that means judges start at 6 o'clock in the morning and they end at midnight, and it can make for a very challenging day, just kind of bookending things. We do try to stagger the classes and critiques at the larger events just to improve the judge flow and fatigue, keep everybody fresh to get the best possible reaction for all of you. For World Championships, again, the construct is primarily the 6 tethered panels that work and travel together, just because of the complexity of the Sudoku, of the makeup of where shows are and where the blocks are. If we can tether the panels, they know where they move, and it makes things flow much more fluidly. And we have the 7th panel again for concert prelims. Again, with the goal mandate, as it has been, to have the same panels for semis and finals. For some classes, that could be a challenge, but we do our best to do that for everyone. There are challenges in every class, so it's not just a function of putting the perceived most trusted judges on the world-class groups. Sometimes things come up and judges aren't available, which shifts some strategies. But it is a very calculated strategy of pairing of judges. The goal is to get the best composite panel across all the captions. And we try not to have the same judges doing the same class year to year. When it comes to the judge surveys, a bunch came in again this year. Thank you. I do read every survey that comes in throughout the season. Statistically, they're pretty minuscule, but generally fantastic, especially this year. Just the substantive comments and commentary that comes in that section. That helps the most, as opposed to just the checking the yes, no, yes, no's. The really thoughtful paragraphs that generated really, really help from a filing standpoint and from a rounding out the perspective standpoint on my end. Please do fill out for all the judges. as opposed to just reacting to one that you might have an adverse reaction to. Please do fill out all as we go through. To wrap it up, goals for 2026. To address the roster, we're going to spend the summer reviewing media, numbers management, etc. I firmly believe that if there is a perceived problem, it's not a system or a sheet problem, it's a personnel and implementation. Again, with the anticipated expansion of the 2026 World Championship sites and the regional panel staffing that we're going to need with some of the double paneling and such, this will require us to expand the roster, and we've begun soliciting new interest as well as circling back with those who have expressed their interest in the past. We can be better. We know this. As with every year, about 5 minutes after Saturday night, we realize, all right, we need to ramp up and we need to be better for 2026. Again, I firmly believe in the philosophy and the system firmly. We will improve with the personnel in the application. Please do understand how passionate and vested the judges are to do great work for you. There's a camaraderie that motivates everyone to work hard and do their best for you. That said, we understand that that may not be enough. If a judge isn't ready to personally invest in improvement and preparation, Top Gun probably isn't where they need to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris and Caleb. And we'll be available for any questions at the advisory board meeting. Thank you.